I see some of y'all still in your feelings a little bit about the video on the Philip Anthony Mitchell situation comment that I made. And really, the fact that you in your feelings about it is proof that you don't know what you're getting into. It's proof that there's insufficient knowledge. There's a lack of knowledge. That's proof of it. Because I'm not banging. I'm trying to extend out a branch and tell you, hey, you know what? You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. I know a lot of y'all, he ready. You're not ready yet. And even like I said, there are apologists who are ready, who deal with Israelites on a daily basis. But he's not one of them. And some of those apologists will tell you that he is not ready to do that. Understand that Hebrew Israelism is a direct result of a lack of knowledge, a lack of leadership in the black church. It's a result of questions not being answered in the black church. You got to understand that. I'm going to give my opinion again. I think the black church is one of the weakest when it comes to knowledge. When it comes to dealing with the text, I feel the black church is one of the weakest sectors. I believe when it comes to praising the Lord in worship, I believe we're one of the strongest sectors. But when it comes to delving into that text, we're the weakest. There are great people. There are great people that know that text and know how to and have a gift of teaching, i.e. TD Jakes. And I know he did videos on him, but I still do see him as one of the best black preachers I know in my generation. But he could be the GOAT. He could be considered the GOAT. He can't deal with Israelites. He still don't know enough to deal with Israelites. But when it comes to preaching and putting together lessons and seeing things in the text to relate it to today's situations and wordplay and preaching, ain't nobody messing with him. Dr. Miles Monroe, man, rest his soul. Very, very intellectual. And I've read, several of these brothers' books. Very intellectual brother, especially with the whole principles on the kingdom. I gleaned a lot from him on that. But is he an historian? Does he deal with archaeology? Is he dealing with church fathers and who these people are, who the Edomites are, who these people are. No, he's not dealing with that. Preachers aren't dealing with this. And that's one of the things you have to understand is that this ain't just preaching, bro. This ain't just in seminary. You don't, I don't know what I can't just say because I don't know for sure, but I feel like it's not just, oh, we finna learn how to preach. But that's how, when Israelites go to a building, they call the building a school. All right? They don't call Sabbath service. A lot of them call it Shabbat class. All right? You expect it. Everyone is expected. When I had the school, we had desks. It had little tables in front of every chair for people to write notes and take these things down. The classes, go to my video. The classes are PowerPoint presentations. Doing classes every Wednesday, every Shabbat. They're 20, 30 PowerPoint slides. It's 50, 60 verses we going over. It's not two verses, and I'm telling you, and I'm giving you giving you a little lesson from those two verses. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm telling you, this is why Israelites are just dealing with so much more information and are becoming more knowledgeable so fast. All right, it's like seminary on drugs. It's just it's like doing and once an Israelite he finds out, it's like Neo in the Matrix when he first started believing in himself, and they started giving him all of these different programs, and he was just in there just dealing with all these different programs, learning how to kung fu and learning this and learning that and brothers get dialed in when that first thing hits. Some hit them, they get dialed in like, man, I gotta get this, I gotta know this, I gotta know this. And that's not happening in church. And a lot of the pastors aren't even equipped to make that happen. That's why you have apologists. Philip Anthony Mitchell, he's not an apologist. He's a pastor. There's a difference. There's a difference between an apologist and a pastor. And it takes different levels. It takes different levels of knowledge. There's a brother, Dr. Eric Mason, 5-6 years ago. And this brother wrote the book, I think it's Urban Apologetics, so he started that movement or whatever. Adam Coleman, I know Adam Coleman wrote a chapter in the book. But a few others, man. These people have been dealing with Israelites. Especially like Adam Coleman and Vocab Malone and some of these other, man, these folks been dealing with Israelites, almost 15 years. I'm talking about on a day-to-day basis. That didn't happen overnight. Well, Vocab got to the point where he's at now. It didn't happen overnight. It requires what it requires, I'm telling you, he don't have. And it's not a slight at him. It's just, it's a warning. I don't want to see you get Billy Carson out here. You gotta be dealing in the Greek. You gotta know the Greek. You need to know the Hebrew. Because they gonna go to the Greek, and you gonna have to correct them when they go to the Greek. You're going to have to correct them when they go to the Hebrew. You can't be saying, well, no, we speak English language and we going to talk the English. It's levels, man. It's levels. And I know everybody want to think that they have the greatest and most intelligent pastor on the planet, and that could be the case, but I'm just telling you, you can know. And then a lot of people saying, well, how you barely watch them, how you know? I can tell by his responses. His educational level when it comes to that text. When it comes to trying to refute Jesus being black. I done heard all the arguments. Unless, I ain't gonna say I heard all of them, but unless something new comes about. But some people, he could have did like, well, that ain't even, that's a spiritual matter. That's what you're supposed to say as an apologist. You look at that Revelation 1:14, you say, well, no, that's him in his glory, and that's some, that's not literal. You know what I'm saying? That's like a spiritual situation. What you saying, his eyes were really fire, and it's da-da-da-da-da, and you take it, you do deal with it like that. But once you just say, hey, man, his skin was the color of brass, you don't know what you're doing, man. You just proved a point. His hair is woolly. You proved that point. Dr. Eric Mason, he ain't gonna talk to no Israelites. There was a point, young Hassad might have been 18, 19 years old, standing outside his church with 5 or 6 other brothers, probably under 25. Eric Mason went out there thinking he was about to get a darn good clip on this brother Hassad, and made brother Hassad, he gave him all the clout in Israel. End up getting Billy Carson. Eric Mason went out there and got Billy Carsoned by Don Hassad. 19 years old, man. Somewhere like that. 18, 19, darn teenager. This man got a doctorate. He been teaching over 20 years. Done wrote books. Then they got him so good and embarrassed him so bad, Sakari pulled up at his conference. He started having a conference, terrified of Israelites. Had a conference, how to deal with Israelites when they come to your church. Make sure you're armed. Israelites ain't touched nobody. Terrified. Divine Prospect bought tickets, went inside, they wouldn't talk to him. You think you want to talk to a Zion Lex? Listen, y'all. There are apologists that can deal with Israelites. Ask them what it takes. Ask them what it takes. Ask them what it takes. Say something, man. These folks be listen. These folks putting together power. Tell them what it takes to debate Israelite. Almost a team, and that's why you need to salute those people. And you need to respect Israelites. A lot of you Christians are running away from Jehovah's Witnesses. You can't deal with Jehovah's Witnesses. Them folks that want to read the Bible. Why you can't open the door up? Why you can't open the door? All they want to do is read the Bible to you. And you don't know where their holes at. You don't know their doctrine. And a lot of you don't want to deal with the text. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I'm just trying to say you, man. What they call the Perrys. You know, that the Perrys went out there. That was another brother from Sakari. That brother had to be in his early 20s, maybe even been a darn teenager. And made a clip out of the Perrys. Y'all reverence them, respect them. Maybe doing 19-year-old, 20-year-old. Made a clip out of them. Got Billy Carson. You see them running up on Israelites again? No. Eric Mason, when he did that conference, that joker went out the back door, didn't he come out the front? Israelites was out there waiting on him to have a dialogue with him. You got a conference on how to deal with Israelites. You could have gave the example of how to deal with Israelites at the conference, live. But you didn't do it. You ran. So them brothers sat there and did a whole, and a couple of brothers went out there and did it. There were a few that went out there and talked to Chief Priest, Guerrilla Hebrew, some of those Sakari members that were out there, and got mollywopped, got slapped up, was not ready. Coming out of a conference or going into a conference where they're supposed to be getting prepared to deal with them. Why even have a conference if these folks just some idiots and don't know what they're talking about? And then you'll say with their pride and arrogance, no, you know, that's going to work on both sides. I've done several videos spotlighting Christian apologists telling Israelite, man, just stay away from these folks. Don't get on these folk channel. Don't go in there. Well, if you're going to go in there, do it, you know, say this, say that right there. You can do that right there. You do that right there. But, you know, these folks got answers. These folks they gonna put you in a little spin cycle if you mess around. You ain't well studied. But I know what it takes in my channel. You know, there ain't many Israelites that refute one West Israelism as much as I do. You know what I'm saying? So, really, this is to help y'all, man. And you should take it. Don't get offended by it. Take it and go get more study. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, 95% of doing 95%, maybe even 99% of pastors cannot deal with a Israelite in his first year. He only been an Israelite 1 year, going to class 1 year. He will run circles around 99% of black Christian pastors. And that's y'all problem. And that's something that y'all need to be dealing with. And that's why you have apologists. And you need to be talking to your apologists. Because they're trying to answer questions that is not being answered inside of the church. We had one church deal with IUIC. IUIC went outside their church. They got mollywopped. They called in Adam Coleman. Salute the brother Adam Coleman. He called in Adam Coleman to try to help teach them. How many Adam Colemans do you have? How many Adam Colemans, how many Dave Dwayne's, how many vocab Malones do you have? Versus how many Israelites? And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't poke the bear. Don't make these folk job harder than they need to be. Don't be another darn clipbait. Well, people can point and say, man, look how them Israelites did that, brother. And you got more people. You had more people leaving the church. There are some camps, just like I was talking about Dr. Eric Mason, there are some camps that won't deal with apologists. They will not deal with them. And I bring that out like, dang, I never thought. I see somebody running from some doing, you know, I bring that out. What you doing running? We supposed to be having the dialogue. We supposed to be welcoming the dialogue. We supposed to be learning. Shouldn't be nothing be wrong with getting cut. You got cut, that's an opportunity for you to get something right. But if you underestimate Israelites and you looking at these young brothers out there and you saying, man, these jokers don't know nothing about no Bible. You know, how they know this? That's what everybody has done to them. When they came back to their mama and they daddy and told them that they were Israelite and they went in there and started blasting them with them texts, they mama and they dad was like, I know darn well you don't know what you talking about. That's just wrong. But they didn't have no answers. All they could do is say, well, no, that's just wrong. And that's what that video was to me. Oh, you wrong. No, he wasn't black. He was a Jew. What that mean? Brother, we saying the Jews were black. If we're saying the Jews were black and your response to that, no, Jesus wasn't black, they were Jews. What are you talking about? How are you answering anything? Go talk to them people, man. Go talk to what's the other pastor name, man? I forget the other brother name. Damon Richardson. You know, he ain't want to deal with no Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Aaron, it's too risky. They're on a certain level. It's too risky for them to do that. It's too risky for them to get on camera and mess around and get mollywopped by an Israelite. All right. It's too risky. And the brother done built up a church. I'm just telling them, man, you don't have to jump in that lane. You don't have to jump in that lane because it's risky. Them Perrys ain't gonna go in the front of no Israelite no more. They ain't gonna do that no more. He thought he got one. He ain't gonna do that no more. That was a little more than he thought he was going. That was a little more than he thought he was finna get himself into, man. That was a little more. Well, he ended up kind of saying he keeping the law, knowing darn well he not. Knowing that he's not. But yeah, man, y'all gotta just be mindful, man. And it's not coming from somewhere of arrogance, and you know, I really ain't got a dog in the fight, man. I'm just trying to, you know, help you understand that it does take a lot, and that these brothers who are out there teaching, they not just out there. These just ain't some jokers out there just, you know, that learn something in the prison yard. And these brothers are going to class and they're studying. And they got notebooks and notebooks of information. And Christians do not do this. You don't see Christians in Bible study. Christians hate Bible study. Most of y'all who come in on my posts that are Christians, you don't go to Bible study. And then a lot of times Bible study just becomes another worship service. Y'all not getting into how the text was compiled. You're not going to be able to defend you know, these other books that just the apocryphal books. A lot of you ain't even heard of that. I ain't never even heard of Maccabees. He said, start telling you about the name of the Lord, and his name is Yahushua, and y'all, you know, y'all gonna mess around and get choked and tied up into that, man. Listen, you have to be a specialist. There's certain people, they have a doctorate just in the book of Peter. You know, just in the book of John. With the epistle of John. You know, but you have to be a specialist for Israelism. All right, you can't. I know somebody last comment I seen said, well, he was an Israelite and then he was a Muslim. It don't seem like it, because I don't see him quoting Israelite doctrine. I just don't see him quoting it. You can just quote it and correct it. It's just simple. You could just quote it and correct it. You already know what it is. You can quote it and correct it. Just like I gave the example of the some of the answers that I've heard for Revelations 1:14. I've heard answers for Deuteronomy 28:68. That's all you got to do. Just deal with some of the main points and give the answers for them. You know, oh, well, y'all weren't sold. Or, oh, well, y'all got sold to Egypt. That's the literal Egypt. That ain't, you know, it's you don't know the arguments. You don't know the arguments, and you can't be standing in front of them not knowing the arguments. All right, and it's just wisdom. Take it, you know, you do what you want to do with it. Again, pray this thing was edifying. Y'all be blessed. Shalom.